I think we are due for a small correction, but I think in the Austin, especially in the Austin, Central Texas area, we've got so much industry coming here and so many people moving here. I don't think we're going to see too much of a correction, but I think it will correct a little bit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Fragnito, and we have a special guest here today, Gary Griffin. How are we doing today, Gary?
Good, Aaron. Good. Good morning.
Thanks for coming on the show here. Glad to have you. Absolutely. And Gary, you're down in Texas there, correct?
Correct. We are in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Wow, I hear a lot about that market. That's in the headlines pretty often the last couple of years.
We do get a lot of press down here. We've got a lot of things moving to Austin, a lot of companies moving here, as you know, a lot of big businesses moving here, a lot of people relocating from all over the United States coming to Austin, Texas.
Great. Now, Gary, I'm glad you could join us here for a little bit of time on the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. As you know, you're one of our passive investors, which is very exciting, and you're also active in the industry. So that's why I wanted to have you on, because you are able to move some of that active income and move that into passive returns and passive ownership of real estate. And that's really the golden ticket. That's a lot of our listeners are looking for, how to work a little bit less and earn more and build that retirement account through real estate. So tell us about your story, a little bit how you got started in real estate and were able to climb that ladder to finally being a passive investor in real estate as well.
Sure. Be glad to. So back in 2006, I actually lost my job and we went broke. We actually lost almost everything we had.
Wow.
And much like you, we've talked about this before. Somebody gave me a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the book was a life changer. I read the book many times and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to get into real estate. At that time, I was actually a real estate inspector. I had gone through the inspector course and was doing real estate inspections. But I found out real quickly that in Texas, in August, in Central and South Texas, the attic is not the place to be roaming around doing inspections. I realized real quick.
Well, unless you want to lose 20 pounds, I mean.
It helped do that. But I realized real quick that I didn't want to be crawling around in the attic in the middle of August in Texas. Mm-hmm. So I decided to go ahead and get my real estate license. And I was blessed in the fact that I met a man who was actually a good friend and student of Robert Kiyosaki. He actually traveled with Robert for many years. He is still good friends with him to today. Him and his wife own the Austin Institute of Real Estate, or the business school. Mm-hmm. And I walked into his business school, and that was 15 years ago, and I never looked back. And I absolutely love the industry. Ended up 2 years later, after getting my real estate license, ended up getting my broker's license, and we've been a brokerage firm ever since. And we've really enjoyed it. We love the business, and we love the real estate business itself, and we love the property ownership part of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's amazing. That's a little bit about how I got started as well as a realtor. Trading the properties, selling the properties, and that's really a great way to learn the industry, learn how a transaction works, learn how to find a deal, and learn from other guys and people you meet that have been doing this for years, buying real estate, and maybe making some mistakes you can kind of see from the outside looking in, and also see what they're doing right, and take the good things and the bad things in from all your clients, and try to learn from everyone you come in touch with. So yeah, that's a great way to get started. I always say to people, if you're a salesperson and you like sales, look into becoming a realtor or a broker if you like real estate as well, because it's a tough job too. It's a lot of driving around, and sometimes you feel like the low man on the totem pole at the end of the day. That's really interesting how you were able to then kind of transition from being an active realtor and broker into being a passive investor. Do you recall the first passive investments you made and how you came about them?
Yes, I do. We had a friend of ours. We hadn't invested in any real estate properties at that time, and we had a friend of ours call us and wanted to sell our house. And that's the benefit of being in real estate. So before we actually marketed the property, I made her an offer on it, because we can do that in the industry, which is good. And she took it, and we ended up buying the property. And it was a good deal on the property. We still own it to this day. That was many, many years ago. And it's been a great rental, positive cash flow, good ROI on it. And from that one, it just kind of snowballed out. Refinance on that one, purchase another one, refinance on that one, purchase another one. And it's just been a phenomenal property. We still own it. We love it. And it's still giving us quite a bit of cash flow every month on it.
That's great. So you did the buy, renovate, refinance strategy, and
Correct.
you were able to keep your costs low enough on your renovations, buy at the right price, and also I think at a good time and a good market, right? What year was that when you started investing?
That was we bought that one in 2010. Okay. So we've had that one quite a long time. And it's just, like you said, it was a good time in the market. It wasn't crazy like it is now in Austin. Deals are not anywhere to be found right now. And we've held on to that one. We've done a couple of cash out refinances on it, adjusted the rents to cover that. And it's been a phenomenal property to have.
Oh yeah, now you're talking my language. Absolutely. As you know here, you've seen enough of my webinars and podcasts to know, of course, the updates on our investments together. So, no, that's very cool stuff. The magic of investing in the right markets, working with right now it's a shame that there aren't any good deals because interest rates are so low and rents are so high. It's crazy the cost to borrow the capital to buy the real estate in contrast to what you can collect and rent. In your market down there in Austin, up here in North Jersey, similar types of markets in the same way. Very high demand, high price to get into in a way, and huge population hubs. So and those could be the gifts I keep on giving. And I'm envious of that 2010 market.
Yes. It was right after the 2008 debacle with all the real estate, and we ended up picking it up at a very good price. And like you said, you touched on something about the markets. Austin, trying to find a deal around the Austin or Central Texas area right now is very, very difficult. Normally, on a normal year, at this time of the year, going into the summer months, we would have about 3 months of inventory on residential properties. We're down to below 15 days now.
Wow.
People are coming in with $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 above asking price on these properties. And it's trying to find a deal right now it's really, really tough. So we're looking, we're always looking, but it's just the problem of actually capturing something that you think would be at a good price. And Aaron, I give you credit. You made a statement many, many months ago on one of your webinars that I really enjoy. You never get rich paying $20 for a $20 bill. And I remember you said that. It stuck with me all these months. And that's one of the most phenomenal statements I ever heard, because it's absolutely true. You can't pay over market price for something and expect to build wealth in it, because it just won't happen that way.
Yep, absolutely. You make your money when you buy, and we are kind of sitting back a little bit right now as well, just not being picky. If you've looked at enough deals through the years and been in this market long enough, right, you're getting started in the 2010 market, oh my gosh, you know what a deal is, right? You remember 65 cents of after repair value minus repairs. That's where we used to buy these things at, and we find them, up and down to the auctions and everything. Goodness, those days are over. But I think we are going to see a well-needed correction. It's inevitable. I just hope it's nothing like 2008, and I don't think it is, because that was also with more mortgage-backed securities, and that was just tri-folding or 10xing the bad loans that were given out, because then they were trading against those loans and inflating the value and the risk of them. So I don't see that happening, but there's definitely needs to be a slowdown in prices. I think we need to see this foreclosure market open back up, and that's a part of the system that has to be in place for the economy, the housing economy, to work the right way. Have you, what's going on with the courts down there? Are they opening up eviction courts at all, or foreclosure courts, or where are they with all that right now?
In Austin, Travis County right now, and I met with my lawyer on this the other day, my attorney, we and I talked about it. to get an eviction done right now, they're still closed on that. They're still not wanting to do evictions in Travis County. Some of the outer lying counties, if you own properties, which we do around the Tri-County area, they will actually entertain an eviction notice and entertain the property. They'll bring it. You can bring it to the courthouse and you can actually get it done. But in Travis County itself, as of right now, they're not letting any evictions happen. So they still have a moratorium on them. Hoping that that'll open back up soon. And, we're blessed. We haven't had any issues with any of our renters. We've actually worked with them. We understand their issues and we work with them on the rent. They've all paid, which is a blessing. So, and I think that's just to the fact that we actually work with them and we let them kind of work around what they want to pay and how they want to pay it every month. As long as you get it to me by the end of the month, I'm happy. And we will let them break it up. We'll let them do whatever they need to do to get it to us. But luckily, we haven't had to file one because, like I said, our attorney did say that it would be a nightmare to get somebody out at this point.
Yeah. We're in the same boat. We about 10% of our tenant base is falling behind or on a payment plan of some type, and about half of that 10%, so about 5% are not really cooperating, but another 5, they really, the other half are trying to work with us as we put them in touch with nonprofits and government assistance programs, and really try to guide them in the right direction so that we can set up that win-win and they can work with these groups that can help pay the rent this time. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting time right now. It's really unprecedented with what's going on with interest rates so low, the amount of money they're printing. Real estate values are going up with inflation now. But yeah, I do think that around June or July, I've been hearing whispers that we're going to see the courts open up more in New Jersey here.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah, so you can file in New Jersey. It doesn't really go anywhere. You just kind of get in line in the cities we're working in. So, there's
that's kind of what we're experiencing down here. You can file on it, but like you said, just get in line and they may get to you, they may not get to you. That's just the way it's going to be.
And some of the counties are doing sheriff sale auctions, but it's very limited what's going through right now. It seems like most of the stuff cannot be auctioned off, any Fannie or Freddie Mac loans and different rules there. So. But the sheriff sale auctions were a gold mine in 2014 through like 2017. Right around 2018, everyone and their mom started showing up and bidding on the properties. Have you dealt with sheriff sale auctions in Texas there?
We have. We've got a couple that we've dealt with. One of our agents really likes those. She does a couple of them. And the problem is, like we were talking about a little while ago, you'll have several thousand people show up and bidding on one property. And that's the issue. You can do it at the courthouse, they'll do it at the courthouse steps, but then you'll have several hundred to 1,000 people show up trying to bid on one property. Yeah. So they realize that that's where the deals are and they can't get them anywhere else. So they're heading over to the sheriff's auctions trying to pick them up. Yeah. Well,
that's how it goes up here as well. Always a lot of competition. We do find, we've had a lot of luck with direct mail marketing, but just our network in general has really been the gift that keeps on giving. But being a broker, you are at the front door. Good brokers, deals coming in, working with investors, and that's really the best part about being a broker in these times is. Sometimes you find a really good opportunity that works for your portfolio. You can add to it as long as you're not the listing agent, of course, anything like that. But so that's it's good to have your pulse in the market there.
And that's what we've done. Every property that we've picked up, every one that we own, has been one of those type of transactions where somebody would come to us, want us to broker the property, want us to sell it for them, want us to market it for them, and we explained to them that we'll take it off your hands, we'll close it in 30 days, and you won't have anybody coming over looking at the property. You won't have to show it. We don't have to do anything. And usually it works out well for us. We ended up picking the properties up at a pretty good rate.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's what I did for years as a realtor, offer them that option as well. And sometimes it works for homeowners, other times it doesn't. So no, that's really interesting stuff. And so at this point, what's your crystal ball show with the market? How many more years of growth do you think we have? And or is there a correction due? Or are we just going to keep on kind of growing with inflation here?
That's a good question. And somebody brought that up the other day. We were talking about it with some of my agents, and I think we are kind of headed for a correction. I don't think the numbers in Austin, especially in the Central Texas area, are sustainable at this point. We've seen a 25 to 30% equity growth in all of our properties, which I just don't think is sustainable It seems like at this point it's kind of cooling a little bit. We've got more properties on the market than we have buyers for right now. It's kind of slowing down just a little bit. I think we are due for a small correction, but I think especially in the Austin, Central Texas area, we've got so much industry coming here and so many people moving here. I don't think we're going to see too much of a correction, but I think it will correct a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just crazy. The market I'm investing in right now, more aggressively, is Southern Vermont, and it's gone up 25% in the last year. And and same with Jersey, we've seen not that much growth, but around a 10% growth in the last year. And it's really not sustainable. Wages haven't gone up that much, Right. It just doesn't make sense. So if you're not getting paid 25% more, the cost of housing can't go up that much more, and for it to make sense. So I do think there is actually an increase in price kind of due for some of the New England markets, some of the more rural markets. And if you go out to the more rural areas, I was amazed at how low the prices were 2 years ago or so. Mm-hmm. And they had a little catching up to do. I never felt that way about inner city markets or, more urban markets in New Jersey. They were always pretty high priced and did come down a little bit in the 2008, real estate recession, but it really came roaring right back and roared past that point around 2014 that it was worth, in 2008. But some of these rural markets, you go out and you'd say, wow, in 2019, properties were selling for what they would sell for in 2008. And Correct. That's a deal to me. If you could buy a stock at what it was selling for 10 or 11 years ago, that's a great deal. So, but now that ship has sailed a bit here.
I agree. We're actually pushing our boundaries out a little bit. We're actually looking down in the Houston and Dallas area now, because Austin's growth is just so large and the property values are so high here. We're actually moving out into the smaller areas, smaller communities between here and Houston, seeing if we can find some deals out there. We've actually been actively looking at properties out there, and that may be our next niche, just because we just can't seem to find anything here in Austin that's a deal.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what a lot of investors are doing. You can only look at and swing the bat so many times in a market and realize, okay, I used to do well in this market. It's super high right now. We're going to give it a little break and try to build an infrastructure in markets around it, and go further out. So we're doing a bit of the same thing. We're doing a lot of land flipping or investing out in Warren County and Sussex County, which are two very northern and western counties here in New Jersey. And we're still looking aggressively in Essex County and Union and Hudson, as we have for years, the more heavily populated areas. But it's kind of like pound your head against the wall right now. You're just looking at a lot of stuff. We're throwing offers in, and we'll get outbid by 10, 20%, and it's just kind of silly. So
yeah, it sounds like me. We've thrown a couple out there and we weren't even close. I mean, you said it 10, 20%, and we weren't even close to what they took on it.
It's funny, when this whole Corona thing happened and the market, it stopped for a second. A year ago, we all panicked. And that was a tough time for a small business owner. I may have not showed it in my webinar, so a little nervous behind the scenes.
I agree. It was a tough time. We all kind of hit the pause button for a second and went, okay, let's think about this for a minute. Where are we going to be with this? But you're right, it did, and it was kind of an unnerving time.
Yeah. So, and then around July and August, actually, because my wife would say, Aaron, you always say, buy when other people are not, and this is the time, so I was like, what, Diana, you're right. So we started looking a little more aggressively around then, and we did scoop up some really nice opportunities, about 3 good short-term rental properties between August and, you're following us then. And so, that was a good time. And right around January, March, we started, these prices are just still going up. So definitely have our eyes peeled, but, I've learned not to stretch, try to make a deal. If it doesn't work on an Excel spreadsheet, it's not going to work in real life,
No, I agree with you. If the numbers don't match up, then it doesn't do for us either. If it doesn't come in at where we need it to be, we've got a certain number when we do our pro formas. If it doesn't match that number, we pass on it. And that's just, I think that's a good business practice for anybody that's buying a rental property or investment property. If your numbers don't add up and you're not positive cash flow, your IRR isn't good, then just pass on it. It's not worth the headache that it's going to give you in the long run.
I always say the word no has made me more money in real estate than the word yes.
I agree. I agree, sir. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I learned that one the hard way as well. So
that's true.
So, Gary, you offer a lot of services. How can people reach out to you, and what can you offer to the listeners here?
Okay, so we offer a real estate brokerage company. We also do financial planning help. If you're thinking about purchasing a rental property, you can contact us, and we will represent you on the broker scale, on the broker side of things. We'll gladly represent you on the purchase side of the property or the sales side of the property. But we also will help you out if you decide if you're thinking about buying a rental property and you're just now getting into the business. We will actually sit down with you. We'll help you do a pro forma. We'll show you what a pro forma looks like. We'll go over IRR. We'll go over the cash flow every month, and we'll let you know if the property is a good deal or not. If it's a good deal, we'll give you the okay on it. We think it's a good deal, and we'll give you all the numbers so you can make your decision on it, whether you want to do that or not. But we also do buyers and sellers representation on our business as well. So if you're thinking about selling a property or buying a property or purchasing a property, give us a call. Contact us at Adelpho Capital Group. You can email me or you can call me, and we can set up a meeting with you. And we, put you in contact with one of our agents, and we can see if we can help you out a little bit.
That's great. That's great. How many agents do you have in your brokerage down there?
We only have a handful of agents right now, just because the market is so saturated with agents right now. And honestly, I like the agents that we have because they're all professionals. But we're not really taking on any new agents right now, just because I honestly, as stretched thin as I am right now, I don't have the time to take on any new agents unless they're a seasoned agent. They can come on with us. We have a group of ones that we really enjoy and we really like and that are professionals, and they're very, very good at what they do.
Great. And you focus on the Austin market. Do you also do Dallas, Fort Worth area, or what was your specialty?
We can do Dallas, Fort Worth, anywhere in Texas. You're thinking about selling a property, we're licensed all throughout the state. We are home based in Austin, but we do belong to different MLSs across the state. So if you're thinking about selling something, we've done deals in Houston, we've done deals in Dallas, all throughout the state of Texas, West Texas. So if you're thinking about selling something or purchasing something, we can help you out anywhere in the state of Texas.
Now, is Texas like New Jersey, where you have like 8 or 9 different MLSs and it's kind of a racket and you have to join all the different ones if you want to?
It is absolutely like that. I mean, I live in one MLS, but I belong to several other ones, and you have to pay them, and you have to belong to part of them if you want to get, if you want to get access to that, or if you want to put a key box on there where the other agents can get access to. It is a racket, I guarantee you.
It really is.
It really is
a racket. Why don't we just have one central data that, it's, oh my gosh. That's why
you've got one license for the state of Texas as a broker, but yet you've got all these different MLSs that you have to belong to. If you want to do deals in Houston, you have to belong to theirs. If you want to do deals in Dallas, you have to belong to theirs. And if you belong to all those, by the end of the month, you're looking at your bill going, what am I paying for? Because the services are just crazy. The service fees. But yeah, you're right. It's the same type racket where you have to belong to multiple MLSs. In order to see what they've got on their website and what the properties are for
certain areas you have to list on 2 MLSs. If you don't put it on the other MLS, they'll charge you a fine, and then like a daily fine. Oh my gosh. It's very frustrating.
Absolutely. It is frustrating because Austin, we pretty much, we cover all the Tri-County areas here, but then you have the Williamson County Board of Realtors, which is just north of us, and they cover another area, and they like for you to put it on theirs and they want to put it on here. So it is that way. They want to see 2 different MLSs. So
boy, oh boy. And the realtor gets stuck with the bill.
That's true. Always. Always.
Absolutely. All right, my friend. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Gary. And we will put your contact information in the description and the show notes here, so our guests can reach out to you for any brokerage services or financial advising and just investment, running those numbers on investment properties, like you say. So that's great. And thank you, guests, for listening here to the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Fragnito, co-owner of the People's Capital Group. And you go to peoplescapitalgroup.com. We have other podcasts there, over 50 episodes. We have webinars that we've done in the past that explain how we buy properties, similar to the one you see behind me here with a group of investors, and with those properties produce cash flow and equity growth and tax depreciation over time. So you can check out our podcast for all information, our webinars, peoplescapitalgroup.com. Thank you, Gary, for coming on. You're the man.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Aaron. It was a pleasure.
Have a good one.